Join me while I do my nails today using the brand new Olive in June and Colleen Hoover collab. Thought it would be fitting to use the November 9 book cover as my inspiration, so here's exactly what you need to do this look. I'm using the colors Atlas, Diner Date, and Same Day Next Year, and look how perfectly they match the cover. I'm also using ridge filler and top coat, the remover pot plus the cleanup brush for any mistakes, and then for nail art I'm using the dotting tool and nail art brush. And lastly, we can't forget the hand serum and cuticle serum. First step after prep is to apply 1 coat of ridge filler and let it dry completely. I really like using ridge filler underneath Atlas, which is a pearly kind of almost sheer white. I think it just gives it a really smooth base and makes the color go on so nicely. Now it's time for the first coat of polish. Like I said, I'm using the color Atlas, which is this really pretty pearlescent, almost kind of sheer shade. Since we're layering a couple of different colors with this nail art, it's super important to let each layer dry completely. So once I finish this, I let my nails dry for 5 minutes before moving on. Now I'm using the color Same Day Next Year to apply just around the tips to make that like milky blue gradient from the cover. I'm wiping off the brush just to make sure there isn't too much of the polish on and leaving just a teeny tiny amount you can kind of see here. And how I'm applying this is just doing light, like feather-like strokes from halfway down the nail up towards the tip, and then applying a little bit more as I go just to make the tips a bit more blue. These two colors have the same kind of pearlescent finish, so they just go together so beautifully, and I love how they like fade into each other almost. And don't worry if this looks a little bit streaky or imperfect, because the next layer will really help to smooth everything out. And once I finish this layer, I let it dry for about 5 more minutes. Once that was completely dry, I grabbed Atlas again and did 1 more thin coat. And this just really conceals any of those streaks and makes it look like a very smooth blue to white milky fade. And then if you couldn't guess it already, I let this dry for 5 minutes before moving on to my flowers. To start, I'm mixing the colors Atlas and Diner Date together with a bit more Atlas and just 1 drop of Diner Date to make a milky pearlescent light pink. You can kind of play around with the ratios here. I wanted this to be a little bit lighter, so I added 2 more drops of Atlas, and this was the perfect milky pink for me to get started with. To paint on the flowers, I use my nail art brush and do just 1 little dot for the center, and that's where all the petals are going to meet. And to do the petals, I just started drawing little lines that all connected at that center point. I also painted on this little half flower kind of in the corner of my thumb, and then moved on to my remaining nails where I did 1 or 2 flowers per nail and kind of switched up the area of my nail that they were on. Once the flowers were all done, I went back with the color Diner Date to add some more vibrant pink dots to the center of those flowers. I just used the very tip of the nail art brush to add clusters of dots on each flower. While that was drying, I took the time to use the cleanup brush and the remover pot to clean up any polish that I got on my skin around my nails and around the cuticle area. I like to do this when my nails are almost dry so that I don't accidentally nick any wet polish and make any dents. Now it's time for top coat, and this really completes the look because it's gonna smooth over all of those layers that we made and just make everything look so complete and so shiny and pretty. Last step and best step of every manicure is hydration. I'm using the cuticle serum just to hydrate the skin all around my nails and cuticles, and I think that this just makes everything look a bit better. The new spring collection is perfect for bringing the November 9 cover to life, and I just absolutely love how these turned out.